Hi friends, welcome back. If you are new to our channel, let me introduce myself. My name is Doug and I am a home decorator and home cook. And those are two things that I really love to do. Our channel is going on its 7th year. I can't believe 7 years doing YouTube. And I have over 400 videos for you to view. Most of them are cooking, some are decorating, holiday decorating, just seasonal decorating. And this year we entitled this season, The Seasons. And we're going to begin with winter. And it is winter time now in Texas, in North Texas. And it's getting really, really cold outside. So one thing that I love to make during the winter time is French onion soup. And it's so delicious and it's really easy to make. So we're going to make that today, so stay tuned. For your ingredients, you're going to need 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 2 large yellow onions that are sliced approximately the same width, half a teaspoon of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of flour, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 3½ cups of beef broth, half a cup of Merlot wine, some thyme leaves, fresh thyme leaves, approximately a teaspoon, chives, and 2 cups of Gruyère cheese. You're also going to need some croutons. This is Texas toast, garlic and butter, and crostinis. And you'll also need these French onion soup crocs, very important. Okay, so we're going to be using our Dutch oven here, and I'm placing, there's about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and I'm heating it up in here in the base. And then I'm also going to add my 2 tablespoons of butter. And I'm going to let that melt, and then we're going to add our onions. Now we're going to add our onions. Remember, that's 2 large yellow onions. And we're going to cook this for around 30 to 45 minutes. We want to get it very brown, but we don't want it burnt. So this is a very slow process. You want to make sure that it cooks nicely and evenly. So we're going to stir it a little bit. We're going to cover it, leave it slightly open, and then we're going to keep stirring it every so often. Next, I'm adding just a half a teaspoon of minced garlic. Now, I have a French onion soup video that I did about 3 years ago, and this is the new and improved one. Not that the other one was bad, but sometimes with my recipes I just like to try different things, add different things, see how it tastes, and this is definitely a winner. So like I said, this has been about 8 minutes and the onions are getting translucent, and that's what you want. So I'm going to cook this for a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to add some sugar to it, and that's going to help with the caramelization of the onions. Okay, so let me just stir this a little bit more. I'm going to cover it, leave it just slightly open, let it cook for around 5 more minutes, and then we're going to add that sugar. I'm going to give it a stir. They're coming along nicely. I'm going to add my sugar to help with the caramelization. Give that a nice stir. See, this is a very slow process, very delicate. You take your time. These onions should be a brown color, like I said, not burnt, but just brown. And it's going to take probably 45 minutes. I say 30 to 45 depending. Usually it takes me around 45 minutes, so this should be done. It has probably another 30 to 40 minutes to go. So I'm going to cover it again and just let that cook. I'm going to leave it slightly open, and we're going to just let that cook. So I do want to show you really quick. You have to continue to stir your onions. So don't just put the cover on and walk away for half an hour. You need to make sure that you are constantly stirring it. So what you can do is, after you stir it, put the cover back on, leave it slightly open, and you can let it cook for maybe around 5 minutes and then check on it and then stir it again. Very important you do that. Okay, so it has been 40 minutes and I'm going to check on my onions. Now I still want it, hopefully you can see this. Can you see that? I do want this to be a little darker. So this probably needs another 5 minutes. But for right now, I'm going to add approximately 1 tablespoon of onion powder to it. All right, gonna mix that really well. And I could already see that it's getting a little bit darker, but I want it a little bit more brown than that. All right. But it's looking good, so I think 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes to cook our onions. Let me cover it. Okay, so let's check on it. Yep, the color is looking better, as you can see. It's been approximately 42 minutes. So I think I'm going to give it another 3 minutes. But the color is looking really good. I just want it a little bit darker than that. Looks a little dark already, but you want it to be a brown color but not burnt. So I'm just going to continue cooking this. My flame is still on a low flame. So, and the onion powder really changed the consistency of it. It made it just a little bit thicker, which is what I wanted. And it's really turning out very nicely. Now, in the North Texas area, we got a cold front where our lows are in the 20s and the highs are in the 40s. And this soup just is perfect for that kind of weather. And I just love French onion soup. Yum. Okay, so I'm going to cook this just a little bit more, and then we're going to start adding the rest of our ingredients. Stay tuned. Okay, so take a look at this color. You can really see the difference. It's more of a brown. And I think it's good. It's been 45 minutes exactly. So I think this is done. Now, a couple of things. When you do your onions, always make sure that when you slice your onions, they're around the same thickness. Because if some are a little bit thicker, it's not going to cook evenly. So you definitely want to make sure when you slice your onions that they are the same thickness. Okay. All right, this looks good. Now we're going to add 3.5 cups of beef broth. 2, 3, and then we want our half. Okay. Gonna give that a nice stir. Stir it nicely. Yum. Now when you make your French onion soup, always make sure that you're going slowly, taking your time. Okay. Next, we're going to add our half cup of red wine, and that's going to change the color. It's going to make it darker. See how I made it darker? Now that's a Merlot. I'm using a Merlot wine. Half a cup. You can see the change of the consistency here. I am going to add a little salt and pepper. Now that beef broth was 50% less sodium. So keep that in mind if you want to use just your regular beef broth. You got to really watch that salt. But salt and pepper to taste, really. Okay. I'm going to add now my this is 1 tablespoon, 1 tablespoon of flour, and I'm going to whisk it. We want to thicken it, and we're going to raise the heat a little bit. So this is on a medium heat. You want to make sure there's no lumps in that flour. The flour is just going to thicken it up some. Okay, I don't see any flour lumps. Looks good. Going to now add this is 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme leaves. The thyme leaf smells so earthy, and it's going to give this soup a nice earthy flavor. Yum. Look at that. I could already tell the consistency has changed. It's a little thicker. I'm going to let this cook for around 30 minutes now. 30 minutes on a low flame. It smells so good. Yum. Okay, next we're going to check our soup, see if we need to add any more salt and pepper. and then we're going to let it cook a little bit more, and then we're going to add it to our French onion soup croques. And we'll add our croutons, our crostinis, and also the delicious Gruyère cheese. So stay tuned. So looking at my soup here, it's just coming along nicely. I'm going to give it a little taste to see if I need any more salt and pepper. Yummy. I think a little bit more salt and a little bit more pepper. So remember, it's to taste. So this is the time you want to taste your soup and see if you need to add any more salt and pepper to it. But it's coming along nicely. I'm going to let this cook for another 15 minutes. And this should be done, and then we'll add it to our French onion soup croques. Yum. Okay, so the soup is done, y'all. And oh my gosh, it smells so good. Our oven has preheated to 350 degrees, and this smells so fantastic. It is the perfect consistency. Now we're going to prepare our French onion soup croques. Now these you can purchase on Amazon or any kitchen supply store. You could also use ramekins, but these I think are super important. They're very special because it has this lip, and that lip here is to help hold the cheese together. So how we're going to prepare this is we're going to use some of our crostinis. I'm going to put like 3 crostinis at the bottom, and we're going to also add some of those croutons. Now these croutons is garlic and butter croutons. This is Texas toast I'm using. These are so good just by themselves. But this is going to help thicken the soup when it bakes. Now I am using a baking sheet here with Silpat, and that is in case the cheese runs over, the Silpat will catch it and it's easier cleanup than if you don't want cheese to get on your baking sheet. Not fun to clean up. So let's get our soup, and we're going to just fill our soup or fill our crock. So probably I'm going to do 2 scoops at first, and then I might have to go and fill them up again. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add our Gruyere cheese. Now, Gruyere cheese is the cheese you want, and you definitely want to put a nice amount on top. Remember, we used, you want to use at least, this is at least 2 cups, okay? You definitely want to fill that with the cheese because it's going to melt really nicely. Really pile on that cheese. Okay. Perfect. Now we're going to put it in the oven, 350 degrees for approximately 20 to 30 minutes. Now the reason why I say 20 to 30 minutes is because every oven is different. So basically, once you see that cheese is melted nicely, then you know it's pretty much done. And then we'll have a taste test. So stay tuned. Okay, let's give this a taste. It looks so good, smells fantastic. Super hot, so you gotta wait a little bit. That is perfect. It tastes so good. Yum. Perfect thing to have on a cold winter's day. Thank you so much for joining us on Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas today. Remember, if you want that homey vibe, you need to subscribe, and please give this video a like. Until next time, my friends, happy healthy living. Bye-bye.